And how about it? History for Columbus, who advanced to the semifinals as they don't beat Tigres, but get the better of Tigres in the penalty shootout. Herc, plenty of time to rain Columbus down with flowers. But first, let's focus on your former team, Tigres. What happened to this crew at home?
Yeah, I mean, the more I think about it, the more I think about how this was the perfect storm for Columbus to prove themselves. Think about this for a second. In a day where Tigres are playing at home and they're winning off a goalkeeper error, in the driver's seat, players like André Pierre Gignac and Marcelo Flores are missing sitters. Guido Pizarro should have been sent off for stepping on an opponent. It should be 10 men. There's a penalty kick not called in favor of Columbus. Javier Aquino completely takes down his opponent in the box. All these things happen, and Columbus still advanced because Columbus were that good and Tigres were that bad. I can't think of a game in our history of André Pierre Gignac on the field where he's looked this underwhelming. I can't think of Marcelo Flores and all the hype what we've given him have this type of outing. I know he had a bad first outing when he played against America, but nothing compared to this. You look at this team and what they did not do, and then I could say, okay, André Pierre Gignac isn't right on the field. He looks a little slow. The reaction isn't there. It's not his night. But then it's Robert Dante Siboldi, the head coach, and he's leaving Luis Quiñones on the bench until overtime. Luis Quiñones, by the way, is the second time leading assist giver in the history of the CONCACAF Champions Cup. One of your main facilitators. Nico Ibanez, who's an ex-Golden Boot winner, doesn't even make it out of the bench. So everything that could happen to Tigres happened because they let it happen. They were that bad.
You know what Tigres did here, Herc? Exactly what they did in the final against Club America.
Choke in Azteca?
They melted. They fell apart when everything was on the line. How else are you going to explain to me André Pierre Gignac missing sitters like this? Absolute sitters. And by the way, you talk about all the breaks that went for Tigres, not just in this game, in the series overall. Let's not forget, first
Cucho
leg,
Hernandez,
they get the massive advantage of Cucho Hernandez not playing. And then on top of that, at home, Herc, you're gifted a goal 3 minutes into the game and you can't hold on. I mean, effectively what happened here is Tigres at home played 120 minutes, and outside of a handout, a free giveaway, they could not score a goal. I look at this team, I look at this roster, I look at all the firepower that they have, and you got to explain to me how over 120 minutes outside of the goalie, basically rolling it in his own net, Tigres can't score. That has to come down. That has to come down. Yes, that has to come down to Siboldi, doesn't it?
No, yes, but also the personnel who's on the field and who's not playing well, individual errors, et cetera, et cetera. But also, and this was a topic of debate down south, this was the closest series of all to me. Like, this is the one that could really go either way. And even without Cucho Hernandez in the first leg, Columbus could have sealed that in the first leg. Columbus had opportunities to win that in the first leg. They didn't just lose, and I know people are going to say, well, they drew and they advanced. This is a loss for Tigres, any way you slice it. This is a loss, and a major loss, and one that can cost Siboldi his contract renewal right now that's up in the air. That's how grave of a loss it was for them. This was the MLS Cup champions, a team that, and I've said this before, if I were to choose the best four representatives, of Mexican football right now, I would choose Club America, I would choose Tigres, I would choose Rayados, and I would choose Pachuca. Those are the four I would choose. If I were to pick one right now who I think should represent Major League Soccer, it would be Columbus. That's how good of a team Columbus is. So you have to give Columbus their flowers. You have to recognize how tight this series was. I watched when Mauricio Pedrosa came on here and brilliantly predicted that Tigres would be eliminated. What a shot in the dark there. It really went out on a limb. The closest of the series, and you picked the MLS Cup champion who's played the best football probably in the last 5-6 years. Wow. Way to go there. I love Mal, but come on. This was bound to happen. If you don't have a good night against a team like Columbus, that's going to happen.
And without Aiden Morris, by the way.
Yeah.
Talk about 120
Well,
minutes not able to
Camacho
score.
was hurt. Aiden Morris, Matan, Christian Ramirez wasn't there. Let's give them their flowers. Wilfred
I mean,
Nancy,
but
they got
Morris-
something.
Morris is a huge guy in front of that, whatever you want to call it, back three, back five, keeping them safe. And without him, you would have thought for sure Tigres would be able to take a little bit of an advantage. Just real quickly on something you said, we do have the Clásico Regio coming up this weekend. If it goes bad, could Siboldi be out?
I think it needs to go good, and they need to make a run in playoffs for Siboldi to stay in. Listen, Tigres is a massive club. The power right now is in the north when it comes to finances, when it comes to money. If they don't do something this season, this playoff stretch, because they're out right now of the Club World Cup, their contention of Club World Cup in this CONCACAF Champions Cup. If they don't do something, Tigres isn't going to hesitate to pull the plug. They are chomping at the bit to go foreign, to go European, to go sexy. That's the word on the street, and they've got the power and money to do it. I think Siboldi's in trouble here. And really quickly before, I know we touched on Columbus, but man, if there's one team that's gained the respect of Mexican pundits, it is Columbus. The way that Wilfred Nancy has this team playing, their total football, the way they open teams up. Wilfred Nancy, not just right now, since last season, he's been the best coach in Major League Soccer. I don't know how much longer he will be in Major League Soccer, but it's by a large margin that he is the best coach.
Yeah, man. Super impressive team. They don't quit. They didn't quit here. They didn't quit, remember, in the Eastern Conference Final when they were down 2-0. That's a team that believes, that buys into what their manager is doing. I'm with you, man. It's crazy that a guy who was basically in the Montreal youth setup has within a couple years become the best coach in the league. What you're saying is by far, obviously full credit to Wilfred Nancy. I wonder what else it says about the standard of coaching in Major League Soccer, that a guy could come out of relative nowhere.
Take that,
relative nowhere, and be so
shots.
Successful as he has. Hey, you were the one that told me when you went to Liga MX that you found out what good coaching was after having left Major League Soccer.
There we go, Chalice.
There you go.